Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated. In the last episode, I promised you hours and hours of excitement watching me retracting vassalages and giving them out to high chiefs to reorganize the kingdom. Well, we're going to hold off on that for a while because, of course, it'll generate, as well as generating opinion penalties, it's going to generate tyranny as well. So we're going to hold off on that until I can get some hooks on people so I can retract vassalage from them without it causing trouble. Instead, we're going to organize a marriage for our son Cian, who came of age in the last episode as well. We're going to marry him into a vassal in the kingdom of West Francia. Our alliance there came to an end with the death of the king himself. Okay, he was fairly old. I think he was into his early 60s, which is old in CK3. But our daughter, who was married to him, she has returned to our court, and we'll see if we can form an alliance for her as well, but we will send this proposal. We're also a year out from when Flann Sinna can hold his next feast, and God, he wants a drink. Look at that face down there in the bottom left-hand corner. That's the face of a man who wants a drink. And straight away, following the conquest of Fife, I still haven't actually handed it out to anybody, but we are going to take the army and march them north. We've set them to raiding. You knew this was coming. We've set them to raiding, and we're going to hit Orkney, Caithness, and work south. There's a couple of areas up around here in the north that have a bit of money. And we're going to take those and then bring everyone back to here and then see what we're going to do from there. Control is quite an issue for us, as is the fact that Kukarkamur keeps killing people in training missions. So I think what we'll do is, do you know what? Just the way we get it up to purple, we'll drop him into Athlone, and we'll get him to bring the control up there. But then I might put him on some of the really bad areas that we have in Scotland after that. That marriage has been accepted, so we have a new alliance, and we also have a peasant rabble targeting us in the Inner Hebrides. That's fantastic, because I haven't had any good peasant leaders in a while. Poor old Briog and Aenbacon. I'd swear Aenbacon was a peasant leader as well. They were two of our best knights and our best marshals and our best military leaders, so yeah, that'd be great. This is our daughter Asta with our lover Astrid, named after her aunt, Asta. And we're training her to be possibly another spy master to keep in the court and to protect us. She wants a wooden champion. We told her that we would get her one. And two options that we might pick. Content. We don't take any stress, but she gains I think -1 to intrigue, and the other then is fickle. So we get stress, but she doesn't take any penalties to intrigue, and that's the main thing that we want. So diplomacy +1, stewardship -2, hostile scheme, resistance +20. Yeah, I think that's a good one. So she's crossed her arms to indicate that she is fickle. That's how you know. Man, oh man, we're making great progress already on the raid in Caithness. I think, yep, there has some gold. It's also great to be playing on a higher speed when you're not absolutely terrified of the fact that you might be killed at any moment. And we've taken somebody hostage in Orkney. These guys must hate us. We have absolutely ravaged Scotland in recent years. We're the Vikings. We're the Vikings. We've become everything that we tried to defend against. We've become the Vikings. And you know what? It feels good. I was thinking of executing him, but he'll give us 10 gold. I think that's enough for like 2 pints. So, yeah, we'll take that. So simultaneously, Kukarkamur has become the new heir to the kingdom, and he has finished increasing control in County Meath. We might as well put him into one of the absolutely atrocious... I didn't even know that was a colour. I don't even know what colour that is. Where will we put him? as well the Isle of Man, because that's we control that, so we have our personal army there. It'll take him 7 years to return control to the Isle of Man. We've gotten a new Intrigue perk, and also we've gotten the Nook and Cranny pop up again. This is what this is how we got our previous Spymaster, Felku. A dark night can truly make the shadows in my castle's hallways come alive. The perceived risk for unsanctioned visitors rise ever higher for every unguarded corner spotted. If I alone can see this many faults, imagine what more people with a similar perspective could do. The last time we hired a group of discreet agents, and that's how we managed to hire Felku. What I think we'll go for here is improved defences in Desmond. +1 to the fort levy, and a garrison size of +10. I don't think it's going to be tremendously important to us, but it does give us that extra fort level. I don't think we need to get another high intrigue character. I didn't even notice this while we are sieging down. Yeah, this is House Donal. This is House Donal. So, of course, Dervagol, who we took prisoner, forced her to convert into Christianity, because we knew that she would someday rule this area. She died. Here is our husband. He has lover's pox. And he was married to her, and he's had 2 children by her. Chieftain Clemens and Riacon, which is a bit better of an Irish name. And Martha. Why did you say that name? So he's married again. And we've taken Riacon prisoner. He's heir to the Earldom of Ross. I don't think there's much we can do with that. We might be able to ransom him back. Indeed we can. The poor babby will give us all his pocket money. Another 10 gold. And let's take a look at the intrigue tree, or what we can do with our lifestyle points. I was going to, or a couple episodes back, I spoke about my dream. Now finishing off this tree, and then finishing off this one, and getting the achievement. We have 12 perks unlocked at the moment, so there's 15 to go, and of course we're going to unlock one now in a second, and that'll bring us up to 13. It's taking us at the moment 2 to 3 years to get a perk. So at 2 years per perk, that's 28 years to finish off both of these, because he has quite low, that's not quite low, but it could be better. Low education. So yeah, we're not going to be able to finish the 2 of them, and I think we might as well just focus on this one. If we go for digging for dirt, find secrets progress speed increases, and it opens up a chance for us to go for abduction schemes in future. And there we got our 10 gold. Ruacon, or Coning, I mean, started this episode as our chief, and then it swapped, and now it's back. I was riding through the streets of Tralee when a mob of screaming and shouting peasants descended on my retinue. Thankfully, my guards did not hesitate to start cutting them down left and right, while I made my way back to the castle. This was undoubtedly the work of that vile spawn of hell, my son, Brangan. I did not see this coming. I've been sitting here in silence for about 5 minutes. I have absolutely no idea what to think of this. I kept making jokes that I was going to start drinking heavily over the last couple episodes. If I had a stiff whiskey right now. I think in the right hand corner we can just about see the word addended. I think it's a reference to the fact that the plot to kill Flann Sinna has been abandoned. Brangan looks to have been the mastermind behind it all along, playing off my wife's hatred for me, possibly also his own disgust had Flann Sinna's carry on to try to seize power. Flann Sinna, when he plotted to murder Ruacón, Flann Sinna was next in line for succession. Brangen is going to get nothing. I think he's in line at the moment for the Earldom of the Isle of Man. That's it. If he was to see off Flann Sinna now, possibly it's because of the fact that Flann Sinna is damaging his chances of being nominated for the High Kingship in future to such a degree that he's like, no, we just have to do away with him now. And also, of course, the fact that my sister-in-law, i.e. my wife that I murdered, now he doesn't know about this, but he does know that she died under suspicious circumstances. I presume he knows full well who was responsible for Enid's death. Flann Sinna's paranoia would have indicated that quite well. There was a 5% success chance, but he knew he had been ratted out. He knew that the spies were closing in on him, and he just decided to act on the off chance that it might succeed, and it has failed. Thankfully, I will make him regret this. There you go. Murder scheme on you has been abandoned. Flann Sinna is safe. Brangen, however, is not. Now, again, if we look at the first Flann Sinna, and if we actually look at his historical counterpart, the real Flann Sinna that actually ruled, his son, Donnchadh, rebelled against him twice. Flann Sinna actually broke into the abbey at Kells, I think, executed all of Donnchadh's co-conspirators and dragged him from the abbey. And even though there was a couple of people in between, Donnchadh would eventually end up succeeding Flann Sinna. We don't have much of a chance of arresting Brangen. And instead of losing one of our best knights, I think we're going to have to simply celebrate the fact that we outwitted him. And for now, I just said he wasn't safe. Well, for now he is. And for the first time in a very long time, the schemes against us are gone. There aren't any. By us, I mean Flann Sinna and Astrid. I can't believe Brangen was involved. I did not see that. The armies are wondering why nobody's given them any orders for quite some time. Well, we've all been in shock. These guys are moving down from Ross to siege down in Inverness. Can I see how much they have? The Isles, of course, have a large army over here that are rather unhappy with us. Our wife isn't finding secrets out about anyone that would be of interest to us, but the handy thing is that it is making a lot of our courtiers like us, including Flachas, I think is how you pronounce it, the heir to Liachnon. So, well, that's a rather opportune. Oh no! Damn! I was going to say that was a rather opportune first army of the Isles. Fair play to him, he's been working out anyway. Everyone gets naked sometime. Not me, says Alan Partridge. The hard part is ensuring that the troop of jugglers enter High Chieftain Cuchurchamuir's chambers at just the right time, and that there are enough servants around to speculate about the ensuing chaos. I suspect Cuchurchamuir will do anything to prevent me from stoking the flames of the following rumours. Send in the clowns. We gain a weak hook. Yeah, we'll send in the clowns. I don't want to know what we manipulated there. We manipulated something. We will bring... I'm wondering, do we just head straight south, or do we go and attack these guys? So we could send them to... Yeah, we might as well. And these guys have finished as well, bring them back onto Irish soil. I don't think Angus has any... 3 gold. Nothing of much interest to us. And what we will do immediately, now that we have something to do with juggling balls... I don't know, I wasn't listening. I was distracted by his pecs. We should be in a position to force Cúchar to vote for himself for the next 5 years. Now we've used up our weak hook on him, which probably means that we need to go and get another one so that we can actually start moving some vassals around. He's going to hate us by the time we're finished. No, he won't, because we're both adulterers. He could never hate me. We're actually going to have to wait 2 years before we can start... another fabrication hook against him. Instead, we're going to fabricate a hook on Fairkelloch, and we will start by... We will use that hook then to take Connacht from him. I only realise now he absolutely hates us. He's a kinslayer, and... Oh yeah, of course, he wants the Earldom of Desmond, he wants a seat on the council, but he's useless. I think it's the first time in a very long time that the Duke of Munster, effectively the High Chieftain of Munster, has not sat on our council, because he's useless. He has no skills. We were just looking at the High Chieftain of Munster, and I was looking at his stats, and I was saying if there's any position that he could get, it would be as our Chancellor, as a diplomat. But that's currently held by our brother, Urquaid. Or not our brother. I think he's the last surviving son of the original Flann Sinna, and he has just died from complications due to obesity. And it looks as though he provided no children. He had 2 lovers towards the end, and he was married to Asta, who's now our sister-in-law. She was our stepsister-in-law when we were married to her stepsister Enid. Oh, it's gotten confusing. Let's go and see who we can appoint instead of Urquaid, and very quickly, only one child remains. She's now 61 years of age, Melmead, the daughter of Flann Sinna I, and she is the last of the OG O'Neills. So we're going to do a bit of changing around. Here's High Chieftain Cúchar. He's currently serving as our marshal. 2 people have died under him, under his training. He has a 15 marshal. We put him in the position predominantly to distract him from the fact that we were sleeping with his wife. So now, maybe we should look at our cousin Coning, who has a 20 for marshal. He's also the lead diplomat. 15 isn't great, so we're actually going to assign him as our marshal. So I hope Cúchar doesn't hate us too much. And let's see who will make a good chancellor. Let's see who has the best diplomatic skills to serve as our chancellor. There's poor Cúchar, down to a 68 plus 68. He still likes us. So let's sort, and the highest would be Coning, but he's our marshal. Next would be Brangan. He just tried to kill us. He's ambitious, brave, and sadistic. I think he has a sister, Orla, with the exact same traits. And now that we've crushed his attempt to kill us, I think we'll appoint him as our chancellor. Might gain him a bit of prestige, and possibly see him as a contender for a future succession. And now, of all things, Brangan is put on domestic affairs. So the guy who just tried to kill us, it's his job to convince everyone to like us. We will probably try to find a better chancellor, because he's not great. There aren't many great options out there I think we're going to go with this one. Our daughter Roche is going to become a minor wife, a secondary wife of the Duke of Savoy. The handy thing is he's fairly young, 35, so we should be seeing this alliance standing for a good while, and 2,300 troops as well, so we can't say anything about that. His primary heir is married to Sorka, Nick Concarcamur. So, yeah, she's going to meet more of her family. There are a couple of families in Europe at this point in time that are heavily marrying into each other due to the fact that there are just so few insular powers present on the continent. So we'll send that proposal. And we get a little pop-up that we can host a feast. And straight away, Flann Sinna is going to go for that. As our raiders bring money back to us. The terror, the anarchy that was felt the last time that we held a feast. As Flann Sinna was battling attempts against his life, we thought it might be the last one. This is indeed a cheery gathering this time round. Our alliance is formed. Maybe Duke Ezzo is going to come to the party. Oh God! Well, this is. Do you remember when we were being really mean to Kukarkamur because he was sleeping with a woman 3 times his age? Well, our spy master found out about that. Instead, at a feast, it's been revealed that our sister, and she's our full sister, is sleeping with our son, Cian. In a barely clothed tumble. My sister, she's the chiefess. Oh, so she's married to Koning. Oh, Lord. And they're after spilling out onto the floor in front of everyone. To imagine that they had such a secret. And she's 56 and he's 17. Oh, Lord. Why do you have to ruin Flann Sinna's party? He looks happy out. It's a disaster, but he's happy out. My lord, the wine. We cracked open the next barrel and you've drunk it all. The feast is still raging, but without drink, the mood is sure to dwindle at a cruel pace. Yeah, go buy more wine. You gain fought thirst. I doubt it. This is not a man who fights thirst. And there you go. With everyone headed for their respective homes, I am proud to say that the feast was a success. I can't remember, did this wife help us with the last feast as well or not, or was it Enid? But, yeah. Until next time. He's after gaining the trait Eager Reveler. Delighted with himself. Can't even keep his eyes open. I was checking to see maybe the Swedes are a bit weak. Maybe we'd be in a position to attack them. Or not attack them, but raid them. 9,000. Their military capacity is over 9,000. I think you're looking at 1,300, 1,400 troops or something like that. So I'm trying to see where we can push down. Northumberland has now become part of our empire by the looks of it, and it's chieftain Kukarka who's pushed in there. So Kukarka is spreading down. I was talking about Kukarka being interested in taking Scotland. Kukarka looks to have his interests on England, and I forgot to mention this at the start of the last episode. I forgot to mention this because I had seen at the end of a couple of episodes back, Wessex has converted into England. And where do we see the actual history? Show title history. So this was the long time Queen of Wessex. I'm trying to think what her relation to us is. I don't think she's related directly to us, but her daughters are all members of House Acra. So I think this is our wife Astrid's aunt, I think. And yeah, she actually created the Kingdom of England, which disinherited all of the women that were going to inherit. And England is now held by a dwarf of the House Newport. That's a brand new power. Nothing massive at the moment, but it's consumed West Riding. So there is Astrid's former county gone, and East Riding then, which belonged to her sister Asta, who has just become a widow after Archaea died. So I don't know what we're going to do now, because I had actually seriously been intending to restore Astrid to West Riding at least, or possibly one of our children. So we'll have to see what it looks like. Kukurka, at the very least, is planning on pushing down and taking anything that isn't connected. We could see him probably push against this region at some stage. I was going to see about marrying her off to one of our knights. But you know that Flann Sinna has other goals in mind. Here is our wife, Astrid's sister Asta. We tried to seduce her and she turned us down. She rejected us. She's been married at least once before. I think only once, to our uncle, Archaea. Of course, we also took his lover, Orla, as a lover at one stage. Flann Sinna, in the depths of depravity, is now going to basically take Asta as his wife as well, so he will now be married to two sisters. Christmas has gotten just a whole lot more awkward. Just dealing with a pop-up that tells me that I can educate a number of my children. There's 20 of them at this stage, so it's hard to keep track of all of them. But Grima, daughter of Astrid, can be educated. She's going down the learning focus at the moment, but I'm going to send her to our physician, Duftach, to see if maybe he can help to make a physician out of her, a future physician. Hooray! Our son Otar has come of age. Look at him there, in his prison cell, where he's been for 10 years, at least, if not longer. We can't ransom him. It's not allowing us to ransom him, but they grow up fast. Oh. He's got a big scowl on his face. Not happy that he's behind prison bars. Can't blame him. We finished the siege here. And what we're going to do is basically bring the army back and stand it down. I've already stood the other army down. And then we're going to make a decision as to what the next course of action is going to be. Got a nice chunk of money. We also have an opportunity to ransom out a baby. I'd swear this is the guy who killed Ainbacon. Flann Sinna is bad. Flann Sinna is bad. He's not yet bad enough to start executing 0-year-old children. Not yet. You can have your baby for now. Kukurkamoor's large expansion is still ongoing. He has attacked the single county of Ossory. That's all that makes up the High Chiefdom of Leinster. I'm going to demand that he stop that war. I don't know if he'll accept or not. I don't think he will. He could well enforce his demands before then, because he's at 100%. But yeah, Kukurka is becoming vastly too powerful, and he's messing up my attempts to basically hand this entire region over to somebody. So what I was hoping to do was to use the hook that I'm working on getting to take Leinster off of him and give it to this guy. But yeah, he's making difficulties. The other thing is that in the last episode, I said we were going to finish mopping up the independent regions in Scotland by taking Dunbar, and it's the only thing that's left that isn't part of the Isles, Ireland or Sweden. It's now also completely surrounded by hostile entities. Well, it was always, I suppose, surrounded by hostile entities, but now that Northumberland has fallen to Cúchurcha, we basically need to take Dunbar before he thinks about doing it. So we're gonna come to Dunbar. I've offered this guy vassalage. He won't accept. So we're gonna invade the kingdom of Dunbar. And Cúchurcha has accepted our request that he bring that war to an end, and it ends in a white peace. So Leinster, the High Chiefdomshipdom of Leinster, continues to survive. And what we're going to do is we're going to hopefully be able to take the county of Leinster off of him, the Leinster of County, and to actually give that to that High Chief. An obedient servant is a good servant. The worst thing is it's actually his nephew that he was trying to take that land off of. I think our alcoholism has started to affect us. I'd swear that he was a 17 before. Will we put Coning in charge? Or, well, it doesn't really make a difference because, no, we'll give it to Orgus because we're sieging down an area. Our Archbishop Onvra has converted the Isles. Iona once again follows the strictures of insular Christianity. Brilliant work. We can see actually what the scenario looks like. Insular is spreading into northern England. The Cathar heresy is still there, but it's not too strong. Actually, if we come and take a brief look at how things are going here in Europe, Savoy is rigidly insular. Insular, how the hell has it ended up there? Did Cúchurcha's wife take it with him when she went over there? I know she was it the last episode we said she was spending some time over there, and parts of Bavaria it's spread to there as well. So I think what we're gonna look to do is we have a couple of areas. I'm not too sure if they need to be converted. Fife needs to be converted, and Northumberland is being converted by the looks of it. So we'll come to our council. We will convert the faith in the county of Fife. And Dunbar, I think, I don't know Dunbar is Catholic, under the rule of a Catholic. Okay, sometimes it's hard to see. The colours aren't really all that distinct. But, whoops, this is what I wanted to do. And continue the war. And Savoy has declared a war for something. And of course we absolutely will accept. We always accept war invites. Let's just take a look at what exactly is going on there. I think, yeah, there you go. Savoy has, I won't say dragged us, but Savoy has committed us to a war against West Francia. We had an alliance with them up until only a few years ago. We're allied to a minor house within West Francia at the moment. And actually, interestingly enough, our daughter Roche was married to the King of West Francia. He died, and we then married her to this guy on the left, the Duke of Savoy, and that's why we've been called into this alliance. So poor Roche is being forced to go back to war with maybe friends of hers, people that she would have known. What we're going to do is obviously siege down Dunbar, which we're doing at the moment. And then when we're in a position to do so, we will bring the army south and we will attack this region. And then we'll see about what to do from there. They're fighting for a single county. Can we see where the county is? Because I don't know my geography. So they're fighting just to take that that county there and spread insular Christianity. Could Flann Sinna II be somehow accidentally contributing to the collapse of... there's more naked people in the court. Could he be contributing to the collapse of West Francia? Why is everyone in my court naked? So it's worked well for Flann Sinna before, and why change a winning formula? Jugglers, nudity, servants, and we're going to get a strong hook. So with a strong hook against Ferchelach, who is the new Duke of Munster, or the High Chief of Munster, we're going to go and try and get one on Leachnaun. And with this, what we'll be able to do is take Connacht and give it to Leachnaun, and then take Oriel for ourselves briefly, because what we intend to do is eventually try to create Ulster, which will have substantial territory here in Scotland, which is also the problem that we have with Meath. Meath has a big heap of land over here. How are we looking in terms of the succession to Meath? He has a few sons, from what I can see. He has 3, so at least the lands and stuff will split up some bit. We're planning both for Cuchurca's election as High King and his death. These boys baiting their drums. They're just about to finish sieging down Dunbar. But not before Asta comes looking for a rabbit. So most of the stuff here is a bad choice. But we're going to give her this one, which will... It says that she will gain Fickle. She already has Fickle. So it just basically means that she loses... the trusting trait, and hopefully we'll get something better. The fact that we got a pop-up would indicate that this is somebody fancy and valuable, so we might actually go to ransom them first of all. All we're going to do is get a tenor. She's a member of House Acra. You may have heard of them. I'm trying to see who exactly... Oh my god, the Acra family is also connected... Oh no, I was going in the wrong direction, was I? This is where I should have been going. So yeah, this guy I think is an uncle to our wife. Again, this family, it's just, I'm not going to even start. Let's just ransom her back for a tenor. And see if we can bring that war to an end. I think, well, we can, because he's already considering a proposal at the moment. So we'll take our army, and we will march straight for Hampshire. Now, hopefully we're not going to suffer any dramatic losses. Oh god. We hadn't heard from Mountford in a while, had we? Hey, Mountford, how are you? How's everything? Are these just like corpses they buy? They have no families, they have no nothing. Are they just like bred in vats to be horsed in over the walls? I thought the palisade that we built was going to stop this. It doesn't look like it. We could throw... She's like plus 100. Do you think she's just crying out for attention? Plus 100. Opinion with her. I say we study the body, because that did good the last time for us. It might help to get rid of that penalty as well. No, it doesn't. We should now be in a position to enforce our demands. And, oh lord, at first I thought it a joke. How could my daughter Orla and her brother Cian be lovers? Yet the letter my spies intercepted describes encounters no woman should ever have with her brother. Maybe this is what we get for educating her ourselves? Then again, like, Cian has... He's been having a relationship with his aunt. Now he's gone after his sister. She hasn't provided any children as yet anyway for House Coleman. Imprison them for disgracing House Neil or House Uí Néill. That ship sailed a long time ago. I think we're going to have to try and cover up this absolutely scandalous scenario. Cian, what the hell is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you? I know you're unlanded, but she hasn't come of age yet, and he's waiting. He's getting antsy. So be it. We've taken Dunbar. Don't even care about that. We're marching the army south. We should be over our limit. I'm so confused now. I'm so confused. Right, let's do some things. Here is some excellent news. Orgus has had a second child. So his son Brutor and our son, his son Ruacon, his son Ruacon. I'd like for Ruacon one day to inherit Fife, because that's the county that we slept with his mother for, and she is pregnant again. So she has a claim on the earldom of Fife. I can't give it to her directly, so what we will do instead is we are actually going to grant Fife to Chieftain Orgus. And what we'll probably do at some stage, because what does he actually hold? Galloway, Alach, and Fife. We might take Alach off of him. We might take Alach away from him and create the province of Ulster. So we would take Oriel, take Argyll away from Leachnaun. Like I said, I'll work on this later. Our army continues its march south through North Riding, through West Riding. I hope Flann Sinna isn't with the army. This would be a very emotional moment for him. Oh Lord, something has happened. I'm not too sure who has died. Our sister, whose name I could never pronounce, has died. I don't know if that's what's contributed to our stress. Lately, it feels like I am constantly being distracted by lascivious thoughts and erotic fantasy. We've been here before, Flann Sinna, we've been here before. With all the hardships of my everyday life, it is all too easy to lose myself in daydreams and forget about reality. You don't even know which is which anymore, you're so hammered drunk most of the time. These desires are clearly interfering with my life, but what should I do about them? So we have a trip to the brothel. A trip to the brothel. Only in solitude will I find peace. I will bite my lip and try to stay focused. He becomes rakish. Such wanton behavior has inherent risks. Only in solitude will I find peace. So Cucarcamoor is no longer our friend. What does rakish do? +1 to intrigue. We do have a lot of attraction from the avenue that we've already gone down, from the perks that we've picked up. A trip to the brothel will bring relief. What is this? Child number 21? I think... Oh man. Flann Sinna is getting close to having more children than there have been episodes of this playthrough. Or this entire series so far. Can we do that? Could we actually get more children than episodes? There's a challenge. We'll leave the daughter as Christina. And we gained stress because she died from her wounds, so it looks like she was in battle. She was fighting. She was married to our nephew, Imbrefni. We got another ton of pop-ups. Didn't even hear a noise for it. Emer. Oh no, what's after happening here? Did I arrange this marriage? I can't remember. There's too many children. Does your father have soldiers? He does. I think we arranged this marriage. That's fine. So our sister has died. Neighbouring war is 1. So they can get married. And you learned of High Chieftain Lochnawn's lover secret. Your spouse's average intelligence. Fantastic. Fantastic. Because I think we were fabricating... are we fabricating a hook against him at the moment? Well, there you have it. Possibly. Let's see if we can blackmail him for a hook. Of all the people who is blackmailing somebody else because we know of their lover, of all the people who could be doing such a thing. And do we know who it is? It's the one of the chieftesses in Scotland. Oh, you divil. You divil. We're now going to fabricate a hook against Orgus, because we need to take some land off of him as well. And we have a blackmail hook on High Chieftain Lochnawn. Let's see if we can get some work done. Hook or no hook, it's still an act of tyranny, and we're still going to lose opinion with him, so it doesn't actually really make all that difference. We're going to retract the vassalage of Oriel, so we're going to retract that from Lochnawn. Don't even know who's actually there. He is a member of the house, I'm not too sure. He's one of the far distant members of the house. We're going to come down here to Munster. And we are going to retract the vassalage of Connacht. Oh, we actually can't do it. We can't do it straight away one after the other because we're waiting for a different one to come in. Flann Sinna is so drunk that he can only take 1 or 2 things into account at a time. That has gone through. Retract vassal. You missed so much fun and excitement, but I mostly got it done. Connacht and Breffni are now under the High Chieftainship of Connacht. I've sorted out this area, so Athlone and Dublin are still controlled by Cúchar Moore. I took Leinster from him and gave it to the actual High Chief of Leinster. I took Alach off of Orgus and gave it to... Now it's going to get confusing. So I took Oriel from Lochnawn, and it was held by this guy, and he's a son of Riacon, who was a son of Moll Shocknail, a son of Flann Sinna. So this is a branch of the family basically that's been excluded from the High Kingship, pretty much. No member of this family will be ever holding the High Kingship. But there's Riacon. There is his son, who died under mysterious circumstances. There's his son that died under mysterious circumstances. But luckily there was still one other person to inherit the county. Isn't that really handy? So he inherited Oriel. I took Alach off of him and gave it to his brother. I think it's his brother. Or his uncle. I think it's his uncle, actually. And I made this guy the actual High Chief of Ulster. What's his name is still in there. Coning probably not looking too happy. And then this is still a mess, and we'll come back. We probably won't be able to deal with that because what's his name? Coning and Cúchar Moore hold extensive lands up here. I don't know how you'd even go and figure it out. There you go. Meath is an absolute disaster. Meath is an absolute disaster. Parts of Ulster are in mainland Scotland, and other than that, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. So there you go. That took a while to fix, but we got there. I'm not going to lie, I didn't even realise in all of that my men had made it as far south as Hampshire. And we actually have a council position. Cúchar Moore has left... No, Cúchar Moore hasn't left our council. What's his name was there before us, and I'm not too sure why he is now because he's no longer a direct vassal of ours. Ooh, maybe this wasn't a great choice. But we will do the best we can. Here is our champion. I believe he's also our physician, and he is now going to be our marshal. No, he's not. Orgus is going to take the position. So we've reassigned Orgus to be our marshal, and we're going to reassign High Chieftain Liachnon to be our steward. He's never served us, but he served Ruacon as a spy master, and of course it was his decision to defect and to support Kukarkamur's attempts to get his sister installed that basically contributed to bringing Flann Sinna to power. Glod comes of age. She has the Hail trait, I think. She does indeed. So possibly we might keep her around and marry her off to a knight or something like that. They grow up fast. Yeah, so what we'll do is marry her off to one of the knights that we hired a game or two back. Medium chance of children, and hopefully they'll be able to reinforce that Hail trait, because both of them have it. Tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. Roche dies at 21 years of age. It has been a short life full of nothing, I would say, but pain and loss. She was married to the King of West Francia. After his death, she was married to the Duke of Saxony, who we are now supporting in a war against West Francia, and she has died in childbirth. I think she is the first of Flann Sinna's children to die, if I am correct. Yeah, there you go. She did not deserve this, and we gained 79 stress. And we have become overwhelmed by stress. So a lot of... And of course, there's our alliance with Savoy, gone. And we're currently fighting in their war, so we might be able to try to reform that somehow. We're still training Asta, our daughter Asta. Flann Sinna could make her lustful. I think we'll just go with gregarious instead. It never hurts to make friends. Our son Main, or Vanya, has picked up the intelligent trait. I think that comes from his mother. It does. So that gives him 20% monthly lifestyle experience and plus 3 to everything. So we're actually going to try to... we've changed him to the martial focus, and we're going to send him to Dovthuk, who's our physician, and he's a champion. He's doing tons of stuff for us. And I think he's already raising another child. He's a warden to one of Main's half-sisters. And another of his half-sisters we are sending to our bishop, because he doesn't endorse us at the moment. I'm going to see, we might even need to try to sway him just to get him back on track and endorsing us. We almost have Hampshire siege down. We'll go on for Dorset. 31 gold, nice. And we've contributed just under 20% war score. We'll take Dorset, and then we can worry about setting foot on mainland Europe for the first time in a very long time. Our spy master comes to us to tell us that somebody is plotting to kill somebody else at court. That's basically just par for the course these days. Par for the court. This woman was... She was having an affair with our uncle Urkeath at one stage. These rivals with Dovdal Leha, so we definitely want to keep this guy alive. The existence of the murder Forsu scheme is exposed. Oh god, what's going on up here? My niece was captured by High Chieftain Kukarkamur, who's attacking Dunforic. If he's attacking there, what's he at? What is he at? Against Chieftain Koning in the war against the tyranny of chieftain. Okay, so Coning is not happy to be under the authority of this guy, Murgus, and he's fighting against him. As long as it's just to end the tyranny, that's fine. That's fine. Fight amongst yourselves, guys. Fight amongst yourselves. It's fine. So here's that marriage I spoke about a while ago. There's Cian. And he has taken his aunt and his sister as lovers. And he's friends with the Archbishop. The Archbishop won't endorse me, but he's friends with Cian. And he's also friends with Glod, which would be his half-sister. I need this alliance. Cian, don't mess this up for me. Why can't you just let me recruit knights in peace? Why can't you just look? You can see it in the background. Invite champions. I'm trying to click on the button, and instead, there's a shady discussion going on in the gardens. One of our knights is out in his oven mitts. So did we just marry him off to our daughter? Yeah, so he's our son-in-law. I think he's actually a year or two older than us. And Orla. Orla's popped up plenty times. We all know Orla by now. And they are discussing. They're talking about something. They're talking about Murgus. Maybe they know a secret about him. We could try to warn Murgus, but our paranoia is going to get the better of us. If only I could get a bit closer, 100% that I learn the subject of the conversation, or we gain dread and torture them for the information. Flann Sinna hasn't turned into a torturer or too dreaded a figure just yet. I think he'd want to try and sneak closer. There's also a 100% chance that we will succeed. So we're going to try and tippy-toe and hear what they were talking about. I managed to get closer to the two courtiers without them noticing me. They seem to be discussing High Chieftain Murgus' private life and some unsavory habit of his. How interesting. We find that he does not believe that we know the correct methods for the calculation of Easter. I think he just doesn't believe that there are any correct methods for the calculation of Easter. Let's see, we might be able to get a hook against him for that. Can I recruit some knights now, please? Thank you. I forgot to mention as well that we've actually gone up. We're exalted among men. We're quite well known. We've gotten an intrigue perk. Let's go and deal with that first of all. With the scheme against our life ended, it is pretty much a toss-up between abducting people or torturing people for dark insights. I think we'll just finish working down this tree. And let's see what antics Flann Sinna is going to get up to now that he can kidnap people. Flann Sinna, seriously, can you just be a bit more original? Everyone gets naked sometimes. Send in the jugglers. We're going to lose 150 prestige. We don't really need the hook anymore, and a weak hook isn't of tremendous value to us. So I think I should think more carefully about this. Put your clothes back on. I may have contributed to a great deal of insanity up in Ulster. Let's actually go up and check what's going on. So a lot of people were taken prisoner by Kukurka. Coning was taken prisoner. We got a champion. Coning's son was released. Coning was released by Kukurka, and now he has been imprisoned by Murgus. I presume he's lost the war and he's been imprisoned for that reason. But yeah, we could. God, if we see any more anarchy going on up here, and if I have to step in and start stripping counties off of people and trying to... I shouldn't have said stripping. If I have to start taking counties off of people and sorting out this mess again, I don't know what I'll do. Now, isn't this interesting? Here's our ex-wife, who fled to Liege after the attempts to kill us. or after we attempted to imprison her. We're still convinced that she was involved in that plot to kill us, but she's now in Dublin. Cúcarcamúr has given her sanctuary. I was trying to think of the word. We're going to start a scheme to abduct her. We're doing our bit. We've captured Hampshire, which is 12.3%, and we've captured Dorset, which is 12.3%, so almost 25%. However, the heir to Savoy has been captured, and they've lost some battles. So I think in the next episode, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to probably sail the army across. We're going to see where a good landing spot is, because of course our allies are way down here. We could even think about going all the ways around in a big journey and coming in from the south. But then again, the main chunk of the enemy army is down here, so while they're distracted, we could come in. My God, we could hit the capital itself. I don't even know where the capital is, but Ile-de-France is a fancy place. So we could come in and probably siege down a couple of counties, maybe even make some money. That's not what we should be aiming for, but you know us, that's what we're going to aim for anyway. So yeah, while the bulk of the West Frankish army is actually down around here, we could cause trouble along the coast, and I think that's what we're going to do on the next episode. It was a rather strange one. There was a good chunk of cleaning up to do in the aftermath of that assassination attempt, both cleaning up the kingdom and cleaning up the last few loose ends. We're trying to capture somebody who we think was involved in the assassination plot. We have discovered truly horrendous things about our own family and the activities of our son Cian and our daughter Orla, who we thought so highly of a few episodes back. I was determined to keep her in the kingdom the way she could contribute to keeping her father alive. That's me, by the way. But now I'm not so sure, because Cian and Orla, brother and sister, lovers. Then again, they did not exactly have a great father figure growing up. So I suppose Flann Sinna has to take the blame for some of this. If you enjoyed the episode, please leave a like. Thank you all for your support so far. The episode 1 has recently hit 3,000 views, so that's fantastic. So thank you all very much for the support all along. We still have another 38 years at minimum to go. At least one more succession crisis to go, if not more. So there's plenty of videos to come. Thank you all for the support, and I'll see you on the next one.